Thank you very much. Thanks everybody for attending. Again, my name is Mike. I am the CAM training and sales specialist for VHF. Today, like it says on the screen, we're going to take a deeper dive into our new E-Series mills, tell you about them, give you a little bit more features and functionality of them, and how actually easy are they to use and set up, things of that nature. So hopefully answer all your questions on the mills and give you a lot of information about them and VHF. And as you just heard, we'll also have a couple of interactive questions coming up and some Q&A time at the end. So we will go ahead and get started. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to cover today, our agenda, we're going to give you just a little information about VHF. We're always running into people that are curious about the company itself, not a lot of information about us. Some people have not, or just finding out about VHF. Then we're going to talk about the E5 mill. Then we'll go through the E4 and the E3. And then we'll talk about the tools, specifically our new air tool for those products. We'll talk about how the new E-Series line is placed or is in with our current line, where it stands inside of that line. And then we'll open up to the questions and answers at the end. I do recommend, as we're going through this, that anytime a question comes up, either write it down or type it into the question or chat area of the presentation, so that way you don't forget about it, and we'll have it at the end to answer at that time as well. Always good to do. Okay, so why VHF? Who is VHF? What do we do? A lot of people don't realize that VHF has been around for over 30 years. Started out as an industrial CNC machine company and still is over in Germany, but our market is now about 75-80% dental, 20-25% industrial, and the industrial is just over in the European area near Germany in the offices. We're a trusted open system that works with all scanners, design software, materials, industry quality. Industrial quality, what we mean by that is reliability, precision, and speed off of us in a small footprint. We offer a fully trained reseller network for your training and support needs, backed by a US-based VHF support and service division, which you're going to see in a little bit, our different offices worldwide. And we're vertically integrated, software, tools, electronics, and mills. We'll talk more about that as we come along here in just a few minutes as well. As you can see, we've recently been awarded an Innovation Award Gold in Germany. This is actually a pretty prestigious award over in Europe. You can check out more of that on our main page of our website at vhf.com if you want to just look into that a little bit more for the new E-Series mills. A lot of innovation went into these we're going to talk about also. So again, we've been founded in 1988, so over 30 years of manufacturing experience. We don't just make the machines, we make the SAM software, we make the tools, we make the electronics. So we're actually the VHF group. So we are located in Ammerbuch, Germany, which is just south of Stuttgart. We have a production capacity of way more than 3,000 machines now, and we're continuously growing worldwide. We're well over 350 employees and still growing. So this is a little picture of our campus over in Germany. So this a couple of our main buildings, production building on the left there as well. And you can see we're at 9 buildings, I think, and they just purchased another large piece of land to build a larger facility as well, and keep expanding and keep growing the manufacturing process. So we also, like I said, we make our own electronics. We have an electronics division, so we're making all the circuit boards. We write the tool paths, the strategies. We make the tools. It's just a complete CAM solution. Our headquarters are in Germany, but we have 2 satellite offices to help support the global demand. VHF Inc., which is what we're based out of, is in Long Island, New York. It was started in 2016, which is great for the North American, US, and Canadian market. What that means, if there's any issues or support needed from a reseller from VHF, they don't have to contact overseas. Things don't have to be shipped overseas. We have a full service and repair facility on Long Island and New York, as well as a warehouse also. And then again, in the last couple of years, we've opened up another office in Shanghai called VHF Trading. So now we're able to cover pretty much all of the time zones around the globe. So expanding and growing. So let's jump into the mills. So I just wanted to give everybody that little bit about the company. We're not a new company. And before I jump into these mills, let's talk about Ease. You're going to see the name Ease. We're talking about that, the E series. What does that mean? Well, these are not just something that were thought of, put together, and brought to market. There was 3 years of engineering and innovation that went into these 3 mills. So we have the E series for Ease. So when they sat down, they wanted a machine that was easy to implement, easy to operate, and easy to maintain and service. With 3 years of the German engineering and development and technologies taken from the aerospace industry and things like that, we were able to develop this new line of mills with some really cool features and functionality inside of them. And as you're going to see, an amazing price point as we go through it. So the first one we're going to talk about is the E5. And the order, I'm going to present these to you as the order they were released earlier this year. You'll see in a slide coming up, these were released over February and March to the market. So the E5 was the first one we released at the Dubai Trade Show. This is a 5-axis single puck dry mill. As you can see some of the pictures of it there, it's a pretty good looking machine, pretty straightforward, clean milling machine. Down in the bottom, you can see there is an optional frame to hold blocks. But again, this is dry milling. So the material groups are going to be your zirconia, PMMA, and your composite materials. So a couple cool things about this machine is its size. It's not very large, as you can see there. That weight number is a little wrong. It's actually 92 pounds of the machine, but that's a lightweight machine for what it does and what it can do and its capabilities. And one of the key aspects, and probably one of the top things for the entire Ease line, the E5, E4, and E3 mills, is they require 0 compressed air. They do not even have an onboard air compressor. It's just not needed in this milling line. So that really opens up a lot for placement of the mills, not having to worry about, is my current compressor system I have in my facility large enough to add more mills, expandability, where am I going to place it? Now I got to worry about extra power costs, maintenance. One of the big killers of milling machines that we see in service and everything is contaminated air, water and oil coming from the compressor and through the lines into the milling machines, killing them, gumming up spindles, rusting the bearings, things of that nature. That's all gone without the compressed air in there. We're going to talk about why we don't need that as we go forward with this and what these machines use instead. Serviceability, service optimized, 1 screw type, easy handling and maintenance, the same screw wrench or torque wrench that's used to load the disc. You can see in this picture, it might be hard to see, but down in the front, there's 2 T20 torque screws to change the puck. All of the components on the mill use pretty much the same wrench that comes with it to change them. Like that entire A-axis inside of here, if that needed to be changed, behind this disc is 4 of those screws. It can be unscrewed, disconnect the cable, it pulls off and goes back on with the same screw type. Even the spindle, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on, if that needed to be changed, the same wrench can change the spindle inside of it as well. User-friendly, easy spindle replacement. These are all things we're going to hit on in a little bit. All dry materials are capable to be run except for metals. So again, your groups are going to be your zirconias, composites, and PMMA. You will see a mention of a sintering cobalt chrome. That one is possible. It's not a true full cobalt chrome disc. It's the softer ones that need to be able to be sintered after one. Not a big commonly used thing, so I always focus just on the zirconia, composite, and PMMA. Like I said, very low weight, 92 pounds, easy to place, easy to move. These machines actually don't come in crates. They come in cardboard boxes. Very easy to ship, easy to store, things of that nature. No calibrations, just like our current line of mills. These are industrial quality one-piece chassis mills. They come out of the box, you set them up, plug them in, they're ready to go. You don't have to worry about calibrating them. You don't have to worry about calibrating them every 6 months or anything like that. They're a straightforward machine against the Ease. So if you think about it, they're easy to ship and implement into your facility due to placement and setup. They're very easy to operate, as we're going to talk about coming up, and they're very easy to maintain and service. This particular mill, at the end of the day, just wipe the debris down into the suction system at the bottom. And once a week, you do a 5-minute spindle collet maintenance where you take the collet out, clean it, and grease it. That's the only maintenance on it. And on top of that, Another big key feature of the Ease line of mills is the ability to be serviced by the end user. One of the biggest questions that always comes in is what happens when my mill goes down? How long am I going to be without it if I have to send it somewhere? Is somebody going to come out and fix it? Well, this line of mills really addresses that, meaning it's most of the components on the mill are serviceable by the end user, as we were talking about just a little bit ago. And we're going to look at that a little bit deeper coming up here. I'm going to actually show you some of that and what that actually means on the machine. Another cool aspect of this machine, you can see that half of the puck is open. It doesn't have a metal ring or anything running all the way around it. This machine is actually hardware prepared for the 90-degree anterior tooth processing, where the tool can come up like an All-in-X or something and get directly into it. However, we do not have it in our nesting software yet. So we've designed the machine for this capability. Once we have it implemented in our software, then you'll be able to process that type of machining on the mill. Unfortunately, we do not have a time frame currently, but we're hoping somewhere around maybe the end of the year, things like that. So always check back into that. But the machine is ready to go. Once it's in the software, that'll be available as well. Something else that I didn't put down here that's in the works that you'll probably see released here soon as well is this machine is going to be capable of also not just holding the 98 millimeter disc, but it's going to have an adapter to hold the larger 110 millimeter discs that are now available. So a nice little feature there also. And of course, the big thing that everybody sees with this line is the price points. To get a 5-axis single puck dry mill with industrial quality, the same VHF, 3 microns repeatability at an MSRP of just under $25,000. A lot of people ask us, well, is it all cheaper parts and everything inside the mill? Well, it's actually not. As you can see with the A-axis components there, they're still high quality, heavy duty pieces. Same thing, one-piece chassis. Like I said, we used a lot of aerospace technology and a lot of innovation into these machines. We still have high quality, high-end German-made spindles. They're a little different than our other line. Again, we don't have air, so the clamping and unclamping of the tool is now electronic versus air requirement. So a little bit different in the design, but still very high quality spindles. Both the E5, E4, and E3 all have 60,000 RPM, 800 watt spindles inside of them. And again, our price of our machines always included our DentalCam software at no additional cost, and we do not have any annual fees. The DentalCam software is your control software and your nesting software. And you're actually going to get to see a glimpse of that coming up here in a little bit as well, on how actual easy it is to use. Again, that's one thing we wanted to really stress with all of our mills and the Ease line is the ease of use, just like it says in the name. The ability to bring it in, have it set up, get trained on it pretty quickly. You don't have to worry, how long am I going to need for training on software and the machine? Not long. These are very straightforward machines. How easy is it going to be used for my day-to-day work? How easy it is to maintain and service. And that was the whole process to think about, the whole workflow as we go through it. So the materials that this machine can run, again, it can do your pucks, and it can actually hold up to a 40 millimeter thick puck. So actually, some of you may have already heard that the VHF mills have been validated for the Ivoclar Ivotion one-piece denture discs. And that process, this mill has an optional kit for that, where it'll be able to process those. You still have to contact Ivoclar to get the CAD design unlocked. But we do have that option for this mill. And then a couple of our other mills. The thing with that is the machine has to be able to process the 40 millimeter thick pucks, because those Ivotion discs are 38 millimeters thick. So this machine, our K5 Plus and our R5, are all Ivotion capable machines. Also, you can see there the materials like we talked about: composites, plastics, wax, zirconia, and I did list the COCR sintered metal can be run on here. It can also do blocks in those materials, as long as they have the universal aceric mandrel. And it can hold up to a 45 millimeter block. It doesn't come with the block frame to hold those. It is an option. It's very inexpensive. Most people you're going to be using this for pucks, but if you do want to be able to process some blocks for small bridges or crowns in zirconia, or maybe some like CAD temp materials or things like that, you can process those on this machine as well. And you can see the vast array of indication types down at the bottom to be able to be worked with. So again, this is a 5-axis single pug dry mill. Very easy to operate, very easy to use. Some of these pictures here, you can see it has a 16 tool magazine inside of it. So you can pretty much, your 3 main groups of materials, you can have all the tools loaded up inside of there at once and not have to worry about taking them in and out unless they, expire in their tool life. The machine software does have a tool life counter, and it tells you when it's time to change tools. Now, one of the tools you're going to see coming up is another reason why we don't need compressed air, and that's our new patented air tool. On the bottom picture, you'll actually see a rubber grommet up to the top left of the corner there from where the tools are all in the magazine. That's actually the spot for the air tool, which we'll see in a picture coming up. We can actually, we'll look at it a little bit. And it holds one of those. So when you're changing from zirconia in the top picture to a PMMA in the bottom, you do need to manually switch the air tool in the machine and switch it in the software, but it takes less than a minute to do. And you're probably going to want to, do a little extra brushing out of the chips that are in the machine when you're changing materials also. So very quick switching. The rest of the tools stay inside of there. Okay, so again, the E5 machine, we're going to take a look at the CAM software is coming up in a little bit, but very easy to implement, low weight, no compressed air, easy to operate. The machine itself's maintenance, like I said, you're just going to brush the chips down into the suction system at the end of the day, which takes just a couple minutes. And I highly recommend that. Don't let things build up. It takes just a minute. Keep your machines clean. They will run great and for a long period of time. And then once a week, you take the spindle collet out, clean it, grease it, put it back in. Literally takes less than 5 minutes to do, and you've done your maintenance. But, these are machines. They are mechanical devices. Everybody says their machines are going to last and run great forever. But again, mechanical devices can have issues from time to time. It's just the way it is. So the serviceability, we said, is what we wanted to hit on by the end user. So that question, what happens when a machine goes down? How long am I going to be without it? So let's say, for an example, you go to run the machine one day and it's just not functioning. It's not turning on, or just nothing's happening. So you call your support through your reseller. They do some troubleshooting. They contact our support team out of New York. We get on the line with them, verify, let's say, that the electronics went out in the mill. It's under warranty. We go, no problem. They say they're going to overnight you a new control board. Once you get that board, you can literally change it in just a few minutes with no tools and have that machine back up and running. And what do I mean by that? So it sounds great and everything, but to actually see it as something different. We actually, for those of you that don't know, have a couple of YouTube channels. The one we're going to look at today is our VHF Dental Tutorials page. This is the link to it, but if you just Google on YouTube, VHF Dental Tutorials, it will take you to this link. So I'm actually going to click that and bring it up real quick. And a couple cool little things I found out about it to save you some hassles. When you get here, click on the word playlist first. It kind of organizes it into groups of machines and categories, like our nesting software, our different mills. You can see the E4 and the E5 here, and then click on full playlist again. This will actually organize the videos for that particular product. So you can see in the top left picture, it actually comes in a box. These even have like unboxing, installation, how to use videos. And then we come down here some, and it'll have serviceability videos, exchanging the system model. That's the control electronics, removing broken tools, exchanging the magazine inserts, exchanging the spindle unit, the AB axis module. Even like we were talking about the iBotion disc, it has a video on how that works inside of here. So there's a lot of great videos up here. So the technician can walk you through it, and you can even see a video. So let's take a look at, like we said, real quick, just a quick couple seconds of this video. Hopefully it doesn't play a commercial, but it probably will. So fortunately, we got to wait till this plays through real quick. And I'm actually going to fast forward this to about the 30-second point here. All right, so once they disconnect the power of the mill, you're going to actually see how fast and easy it is to exchange electronics in here. You don't even need tools to pull the bottom cover off or the top cover of the mill where the spindle's at. For this, you just pull up on the one little pin, grab the electronics cassette at the bottom, slide it out. You would grab the one that was overnighted to you. You'll see him, he's going to slide it back in and push it till it clicks into place. push the pin back down, snap the panel back on the machine, turn on the machine, and you're back up and running. So we are saying it is easy to do, and we're showing that is easy to do as well. Like, again, due to time, I'm not going to show a lot of the different videos, but if you wanted to come up in here and see how easy it is to change a spindle, it's the same thing. You can come up here and take a look at that. That one will actually, the top of the machine panel here just pulls off. There's one plate with a couple screws to come off, which is the same T-wrench to load the pucks. And then it's just one screw. You loosen it, disconnect one cable, the spindle slides out. The new one slides back down in, and a little pop-up thing, kind of like on a pressure cooker, pops up to let you know it's seated. You connect the cable, tighten the one screw, the spindle has been changed. Very easy to. Now, we're not saying the spindles are going to die. They're designed to last. But again, we wanted this machine for a lot of your common issues that come up with milling machines, be able to not have to be shipped off and give a little more confidence to the user that I can get back up and running quickly in my facility and not have a lot of downtime. But if they did need to be shipped, again, they're in a box. They can be shipped faster than machines and crates and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this back to the presentation now.
So, Mike, we have our first poll question that we're ready to launch. Is it okay with you?
Sure, go right ahead.
Okay, here it goes, everybody. So our first question is, which of the following area is of greatest concern to you? Is it implementation, operations and use, maintenance, or service of the mill? You wouldn't mind just clicking on just to let us know. We'll leave this up for like a minute, Mike.
No problem. Yeah, while this is up, again, any of those three machines, you can go up there. The E3 is not up there. We'll explain why in just a little bit. But the E4 and the E5, there's plenty of videos up there on those. There's even videos on our other machines if you're interested in those also. But it's a great little channel to take a look at if you didn't know about it. We also have another one that's called VHF Cam Factor, which is our parent company out of Germany's name. Has a lot of testimonial videos, KOL experiences, things like that on it.
Okay, it looks like everybody answered pretty quick. So I'm going to end this poll and we'll get you back to the presentation. We'll go over it at the Q&A section. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So we're going to talk about the next mill, the E4. The E4 is, it says same-day dentistry, but I look at it just as an affordable block milling machine. Here's some of the pictures you can see, like your Emax. It'll even do zirconia, PMMA, composites, things of that nature inside of it. So again, this is for blocks. This machine is pretty small. It's about 14 inches by 14 by 18 inches, not a large machine. And it does only weigh 65 pounds. Again, comes in a cardboard box. We've even overnighted this back and forth across the US just to see if it could be done. And it was able to be done. So very easy to ship, again, easy to place and work with inside of there. So what's some of the features of this mill? So number one, it's very affordable, as you're going to see. Single unit block mill, all block materials except metals. That is one of the differentiators of this line from our current lines, is the E-Series does not machine metal. We did see the sintering cobalt chrome, but it's a little different. But no titanium, no standard cobalt chrome. If you need that type of milling, you want to look at our performance or premium lines. But any block materials, glass ceramics, zirconias, composites, PMMA, all can be milled on this particular machine. Again, it's designed for easy, independent handling, use, and maintenance, just like the other ones. Serviceability is easy. Setup and implementation is easy. No calibrations. Very easy to use nesting software, which I'm going to show you how easy that is in just a moment. For this particular machine also. Slide-in tank for dry milling. This is a unique characteristic about this mill. Even though it is a very affordable mill, it has an option. It's not standard, but it's an option, very affordable. Dry tank, so you would get the dry option, which comes with a drawer, which I'm going to show you in a moment. And it comes with a set of tools for the dry materials, and then you purchase a suction system. And you can switch the machine from doing your glass ceramics wet to doing your zirconia, PMMA, and composite materials dry. Nice option there. And again, it holds your blocks, which we'll look at the sizes and everything just coming up here in just a moment. Again, if you go to the dry option, no compressed air. It uses our new patented air tools just like the E5 did. So again, freedom of placement, not having to worry about, do I need a bigger compressor, adding more compressors, lines, contamination, just done with all of that. And again, the big value price, MSRP, just under $20,000. Does include the dental cam software and no annual fees. So let's say you're a facility that's doing a lot of zirconia milling and you get requests every now and then for EMAX. Maybe you're pressing it or sending it out or just not taking those jobs, and you wanted to see about maybe bringing some of those type of work in. This is a great affordable option to do that. Bring it in, set it down, run some pieces, do some options, and then, even scalable. All of these machines at the price point, the E5, I could see a wall with a frame system of E5s sitting in there running. It's not always sometimes about a changer on a mill, but if you have 3 machines sitting side by side, so let's say it takes, just as an example, an hour to run whatever piece you're running. If you had a changer and you were running 3 pieces, that's 3 hours. But if you had 3 machines sitting side by side, you get 3 pieces in that 1 hour. So at these price points of these mills, it's very easy to scale production in a facility. Materials, again, holds any material in block form on the universal or CEREC manual up to 45 millimeters long. So you can do some small bridges and things like that. Just like our normal machines, you see in that bottom left picture, our mills actually mill the through hole and anti-rotation for screw retain pieces. So you don't have to worry about stock of pre-drilled meso blocks or things like that. True as well on the 5-axis machine. This being a 4-axis mill, they would have to be straight through. But if you were doing some crowns and things on your E5 that we saw earlier in a zirconia disc or whatever, you could have angulated screw channel milling. So again, all those capabilities are inside of our machines. And University of Washington did a study on some of our mills to test the quality and strength of those milled one versus the pre-drilled, and found we were just as strong. So like I was saying, the optional wet dry option. So again, the mill out of the box is a wet mill for your glass ceramic milling. The dry option, off the top of my head, don't hold me to this, it's about $1,500. It comes with the dry tank and a set of tools. So it's a good value. So what you do, you still need a suction system. And the way it works is if you're processing wet and then one day you need to process some dry jobs, you would simply open the chamber, wipe it out with a rag real quick. The bottom drawer with the door open is the water tank. You pull that out, set it on the side, plug in the dry drawer. It's kind of like just a block off, connect your suction system to the back, switch your tools to your dry material, and you're up and running. Very fast, easy to switch out. Another cool feature about this mill, the water tank is just drinking water, tap water if you want. No additives to worry about at all with this. So you just take it to the sink, rinse it out, fill it up, put it back in. Super easy. I don't have to worry about additives where I've got them mixing things like that. So very easy to switch out, very easy to keep maintained that way with it. Same thing, this is a very easy mill to maintain. Wipe out the milling chamber, change your water, once a day if you're using it, take it to the sink, rinse it out, fill it up, super easy. If you're changing materials, you're going to have the tank out if you're going from wet to dry, maybe change it at that time too. Once a week, call it maintenance. This one also, since it is a wet mill, has a once a month water scaling cycle. It takes about 30 minutes and it runs a cleaning cycle, kind of like a coffee machine through it. We kind of call this like a little Keurig machine in that case, to descale the lines inside of it. So what I want to do is hold up right here before we look at the next one. And the next one's a kind of a different area altogether for us. But since we're talking about these machines, I want to kind of give you an idea of, again, some more of the ease of use of these and the nesting software that comes with it. It's the same nesting software as for our current line, but for instance, for like this single block mill, which is a super easy type of indications. Let me just pop that up on the screen here real quick. It's this one. So this is the dental cam, and this one is set to specifically be quick and easy for the blocks. Pretty much what you do inside of here is you choose which one you're working for. Out of the list here, it will display it on the left. You tell it what it is, whether it's a crown bridge, inlay, onlay, veneer. You tell it the quality of the visual, not the quality of the cavity. That's going to give you that same high quality fit, but just your aesthetical quality, fast, standard, or high optimum. You can give it some names. This could be like a patient name or a customer name or whatever it might be, tracking. You load the disk or the block in this case. It tells you at the bottom what it's doing. It's usually really quick, but with the meeting, my computer is going to be a little slower. It takes just a second. So inside of here, you can position it, move it around, move it up and down for shaded blocks, go to the next page, simply quickly place a bar on it that it can be drugged here and here to position, and then you would hit calculate. And as soon as this piece turns black in color, what that means is it's out of the control software of the mill, ready to be processed. I'm not actually connected to a machine, so it's not actually going to transfer that over there for me. But also, I have it on another screen here, the OK. Sorry about that. Multiple screens. It's asking me, are you sure? So once I hit that, you can see that fast. It's available at the machine for starting. It's the same thing with our E5 series. So what that means is that's our direct mill function out of our nesting softwares. So some softwares require you to wait for the calculation to complete before you can start running the machine. Ours, as soon as it gets that first packet of information completed, it sends it to the control software by the mill. And once that job pops up on the screen, you can set the mill up to run or have it already ready to go and have it hit run. And it'll actually mill and calculate at the same time in the background and provide what it needs with it. So it's a nice little feature. And you can actually see how fast the calculation is going for this also down inside of here. At the same time, we also do have what's called a residual display. You may get these unique pieces from time to time that you want to take a look at before you waste a piece of material. This does require you to let the calculation calculate out because obviously it needs a completed toolpath. But then what it would do, it would take the overlay of the finished piece over the original, and you can actually see off of the grid where any areas might have material. Now, I didn't do my optimal setting, so this was just finished with a 1 millimeter, but you can bring in a 0.6 zirconia. We can go all the way down to a 0.3, but this would show me any areas that didn't get milled or issues I might need to change in the nesting or design of it. So as you can see, it's a very fast software. Blocks should only take a couple minutes to run through and process and get out to the machine and get running. Again, it's about that whole workflow. We see it as from when you start with your nesting, when you come out of the design software till you take it out of the machine. How smooth and easy can we make that workflow and that process through all of it? At the same time, just quickly here, you can see this is the software for the E5, pretty much the same, except it's doing blocks. You'll have all of your materials inside of here and a lot of generics. So you can see if I scroll through here, there's a lot this thing can do. Pretty much, again, any material in 98 millimeter disc form up to 40 millimeters thick in the zirconia composite and PMMA, and soon the 110 millimeter discs inside of here. And then again, like for instance, if you came across a brand of zirconia that's not inside of the machine, we have some generics up here you can run. Same with PMMA. We have a PMMA burn, so if that material is giving you rough edges and not cutting properly, it has a lower melting point maybe, that's what the burn strategy is for. It slows it down and gives you a little bit different cutting for that type of material. But at the same thing, you would come in here, set it all up. If you're doing zirconia, it asks you about scaling. You would create the piece, load it in. I'm not going to run through the whole thing. I have one kind of done here, but it's kind of the same thing. You choose the file, you'll choose the quality, you'll import it in here, you'll set your bars. You can see inside of here, I've set multiple bar types, some solid ones, which will be full when they're there afterwards, which are the blue. The purple ones are reduced. That means at the end of the machining, it'll go back and cut those in half for easy removal. And then the pink ones are fully removed ones. So at the end, this would put the 1 millimeter tool back in, cut the purple ones halfway down and take the pink ones completely out. So there's less work to be done afterwards. And I even put a little center bar inside of here. Very easy to do. You can see it found all my screw work. And then you would just come up here and hit calculate, send it over to the mill and process this piece. So this one particular estimated runtime of about 3 hours and 15 minutes, which really isn't bad for a piece of that size. So about I always say 3 to 4 hours, depending on size and detail, center bars, things like that. It's really hard to give specifics on that. But you can see same super easy software. I don't have anything stored in the residual display on this computer to show that, but the same super easy work through as we saw in the other one, just working with a little more complex. So a couple extra minutes in here, but not much needed to process inside of it. I just wanted to jump off and show you a little bit about the nesting software. Again, we want to keep that whole ease train of thought going through this product line. So the next mill we're going to talk about was a complete new direction for VHF. The E3, this is actually an aligner trimming machine, I guess one way to think about it. That's all it does. It's just a trimmer. It doesn't print, doesn't mill anything, doesn't produce anything, just trims your thermoform appliances. And it trims them in under 60 seconds. Why is that a benefit? So those of you that are familiar with trimming of thermoform pieces like aligners, that process can be very tedious, very pain in the ass because you got to do it manually. You can get cuts. Trying to keep a consistent, there's people that can do a really good job, but if you had like a block of 16 pieces in a set, to keep a very consistent cut from one to the next, that's what the machines can do for you and do it fast. You know, if it's taking somebody sitting there at the bench 5 to 10 minutes to do one, in 10 minutes you can do 10 on this machine and have that same consistent cut. It just does one pass around. The tool just comes down, it spins around, cuts it off, one time, done. No tools, the piece comes off, the next one gets snapped on, and you choose the next file and hit run. So again, this is pretty much a 4-axis mill for your Occlusal appliances, under 60 seconds. It's a dry mill. It doesn't even require suction, minimal chips, just a very small drawer you pull out at the end, dump in the trash. And the software is included with this. It's actually going to be called TrimCam, a little bit different than our milling. I don't have it to show to you at this time. Well, this machine is not, it's been released, but it's not available for shipping until September. So this one still hasn't actually hit the open market yet as far as deliverability. So the software is in its final button-up stages for it, but it's very fast. It's going to be even, I think, about the same time frame or less than you saw with the blocks to go through and just fill out a couple things on that. So here's another picture of it. You can see inside of it. It's very straightforward. Talk about how it actually snaps into the mill. This little attachment piece is added to the model of the teeth and before it's printed, so that way it just snaps on and off inside of there. And we'll see that here in just a second. But you can see afterwards you get your nice cleanly trimmed piece. Now, this is just a little workflow that I put up. So the way it works is you'll do your creation of your 3D model. Once that's done, before you go to your printers, you'll jump into our TrimCam software. Whether it's a single or a batch of them, the software has batch capabilities as well. Once inside there, you'll hit attach base. It'll attach base to them, and then you'll be able to export those models out to your printers. At the same time it's attaching the base, it will automatically find the trim line of the model and show you a display of that on the next screen. Also on that next screen, you'll be able to go in and choose how much of a scallop or smoothness you want around there. What's the position of it off of the gum line and up or down from that position? And also off of the back edge on like the back molar. Do you want it to go all the way around the back, stop halfway over the back one in front of the last unit on the back side of the piece? So you have a lot of controls in there as well. So you've exported your pieces out to the printers. You've got those trim lines set, which is just a couple fields that automatically generates them. You send them over to the control for the trimmer. As you can see in the bottom, after you've thermoformed it, it has the attachment to it. You just snap it in the mill, choose the file for that one, hit run. It trims it in under a minute, pops it off. The ones I've seen were about 51 seconds from the time it takes you to snap it in, hit start to take it out of the machine. And then you just snap the next one in, go to the next file program, hit run, and it's very fast. So this is just a appliance trimming machine. That's all it does. I didn't put the price on this particular side, but just so you know, the MSRP of this machine is $16,990. So very affordable. If you've got people that are already trimming these manually, they would love you for getting one of these from the ones I've talked to. All right. Next area, I want to run through a couple things here left, and then we'll have time for questions at the end. Why don't we need compressed air? One of the big designs was this new patented air tool by VHF. So you can see what they did is they came up with a little 3D printed impeller system that's attached to the main roughing tools. So as this is spinning around in there and the suction system is doing its thing, all the debris is being moved off and sucked out in the suction system, helping keep the cutting areas clean. Very easy concept when you think about it. So here you can see the tools. On the left, we're actually going to see a quick little video of that in just a second. But on the right, you can see, like I was saying before, in the E5, it's only on the main roughing tool. That's the one that's doing the most work in debris. Once you get past that tool, the 1 millimeter, 0.6, 0.3, they're doing minimal cutting. And the movement the suction system creates is enough to clear those out of the way and get them down. It does put this tool back in at the end and go through and blow everything off. That's what this video is showing here. There's no sound. But if you'll notice here, you can see how much movement it's actually creating in the different areas. And if you look down at the bottom, you can see the debris getting sucked out the evacuation hole from the suction system as it blows it around inside of there. So great little video. Let me see if I can play it again, just so you can see it. But it's actually creating quite a bit of movement and pretty much all you need to produce your jobs and not have to worry about air being blown down on the job the whole time. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there right now. The question is, can those impellers be removed from the tools? We get that right away. Actually, they're not. It would require they come permanently attached to the tools. But again, it's just the first tool that uses it. And is it a big cost difference from a tool that doesn't have an impeller? It's only about $6 to $8 difference from one that doesn't. So it's not like it's tripling the price of the tool or something just because it has a little impeller on it. So again, this is for your composites, PMMA and zirconia, just for your dry materials. If you're looking at the E4 for wet, you don't need that. But if you add on the dry kit, you will need those for dry processing, and that dry kit comes with one set of tools for all the dry materials, so it gets you started into those. And they are color-coded, blue for zirconia, green for PMMA, yellow for composites. All right, so like we've been saying through this whole thing, VHF Group, what's the VHF advantage? We like to think of ourselves as a complete CAM solution provider. What does that mean to you? Like I said, we make the machines. We have an electronics company. It doesn't just make electronics for CNC. They make electronics for other industries over in Europe as well. They create our software, write the strategies. We make our own tools, not only for the dental, but for our industrial machines. And we've been doing it since the mid to early 2000s. So we're really good at making tools and designing them when we need to create new tools. On our standard mill line, about a couple of years ago, they came out with that new material, Trilor. And that's been proven to be a difficult material to mill. But since we developed our own tools, we came out with a special tool for fast, accurate processing of that material. So also we design a tool, let's say, for a material like zirconia. And then we sit down and write a strategy for, let's say, a crown in zirconia on the E5. So we're specifically knowing, okay, we've designed this tool, the rates, the flutes, the clearances, what the optimal chip load is, how fast it should be run. Then we sit down and write a toolpath to optimally use that tool on that material for that machine, and then test it really good and get it fine-tuned in. So what that lets you do is, you saw how fast it is going through those strategies. It's applying the correct toolpath in the background, meaning you're going to get the same accurate, consistent piece coming off the mill, piece after piece after piece, month after month after month, by using it. And it also makes a single point of contact. You call up your reseller, you're having a problem. They can't figure it out. They don't have the tool company telling you it's the software company saying it's the machine company. They can't get the help. They can't figure it out. They call us. It's one of our products. Makes it easy to support. So it is not really a closed system. We are still open. We can work with any design software out there that outputs an open STL. We always hear about, do you work with the scanner? Not as much the scanner as the design software. So whatever scanner you're using, find a design software that works with that scanner that outputs an open STL file. It can come into our software and be run on the mills. Where does the E-Series fit into our current line? It's kind of like our entry-level class. We still have our performance line and then our higher-end premium lines like our Z4 and R5. Still good quality. Like I said, not cheap knockoff parts at those price points, but it's a great line as an entry into the milling category. Like I said earlier, there was a staggered launch. The E5 was in early February in Dubai, the E4 in Chicago, and then the E3 was launched at IDS Cologne. Now the E5 is available currently out there. The E4 is getting ready to hit shipping here any week now. And then the E3 shipping ability will be in September of 2023. Excited for that one coming up. Wanted to bring this picture up. This was a picture of the two of our booths, two mills in Chicago. You can see the size comparison of them. They're still not that big. I also wanted to let you see that these are a great combo to have side by side in a facility. You got your dry milling, you got your wet milling. And also you see the one PC between them. One PC sitting between them can run both mills. So it makes it super easy to work and set up inside of there. So a great package combo. And if you think about it, you could get into both of these mills set up and ready to go for probably $50,000 or less US. So that's a great entry price point into a package like that. And then here at IDS in Cologne, you can see all three of them together. The E3 and the E4 are about the same size, pretty much just the E4 is 65 pounds, the E3 is 55 pounds, and then you have the little bit larger E5, but not much, that weighs in about 92 pounds, but still a great lightweight machine for what it can do, serviceability, ease of use by everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there and open it up to any questions. Did we get any questions come in?
So first, I want to give you the results on the poll question. So it seems the greatest concern, implementation, 14%, operation and use, 14%, and the major one was service of the mill, the maintenance, 71%. So what do you think about that, Mike?
That's exactly what I thought was going to be the response that came in. Like I said, we always get that question, what happens when my machine goes down? And that was one of the top areas that this line came in to help with. You know, machine goes down, you still contact your reseller. There's still some troubleshooting that needs to be done to determine what the issues are. And then those parts can be easily changed and swapped out by the end user. So it gets you up and running quickly.